Howdy ho, y'all. 57 here, bringing y'all a little editorial piece. That's gonna be a series I'm gonna have. I'm gonna call Draft Theory, where I will give my opinions and talk about what I think is a good strategy for drafts. I know I have a lot coming up, and I know a lot of people. Some people are really intuitive with it, and some people are not so much. So, if I could be at all helpful, I appreciate that. If I could express my opinions on things, I like doing that too. I also have a number of contrarian opinions, and that's what today is going to be in terms of draft theory. And that is that today I'm going to talk about the value of low tier fairies. Um, my stance on fairy type Pokemon, and you say, hold up, Josh, before you get too far. In your most recent draft, the NDLS of your own league, you drafted a tier 1 fairy mega and Tapu Bulu. And by low tier fairies, or I mean traditional clerics and wish passers and like mods that are meant to be more bulky than offensive, I think are things you should go for. I think you should go those low tier. I don't think you should get high tier fairies. I think getting Clefable, Sylveon, and Florges is a waste. I think it is a waste. I can't hear myself over this 1 second. So I'm going to talk about some of what I think are really great low tier fairies in draft league format, mainly catered towards GBA style leagues, those tiered leagues. Obviously, if you're in a free draft, there's no reason not to get something like Florges or Sylveon or Fable. But I mean, free drafts are like fake. Like, there's not like real strategy for them, guys. So, without further ado, I'm gonna start off talking about my favorite fairy type, Togetic. And you say, but West, but 57. Togetic's a meme. It's bad. People on Twitter and the GBA say Togetic is bad, and I trust them. They're good battlers. And I say to you, all right, shut the fuck up. They're not bad. All right, sure, it's not overwhelmingly powerful from an attacking standpoint. It maxes it out, like throw Modest on there. You get 284. It's not breaking too many walls. You have Nasty Plot to play around with. Just fun, but mostly fun for nasty past shenanigans. But Togetic is really beautiful because of its EV malleability. Togekiss is a pretty good mon. I'm not too opposed to it. I like it in standard format, but Togetic is far better on a defensive end. It has practically the same defensive stat, but it's able to boost it with EV Light. So, like, what this is actually working as, like, right here, is, like, like a 350 base defense stat. It's insane. Like, if you boost it a little bit, like, probably throw about 88 points in there. Yeah, you get, like, right at there. I normally run Bold Nature on Togetix. That's generally what works out best because I need to check a lot of fighting types. So, like, an average Togetic spread will be something like this. And you could really run mixed defenses. It obviously gives a lot of opportunities to heal Bell. I don't like defog on it too much. I don't like having like primary low tier has removal, and I don't like primarily the foggers. But it has a lot of fun options. It has Encore. You shouldn't run no attacks. Obviously, it gets Dazzling Gleam. It does not get Air Slash, so that's the incentive to pick Togekiss in the world of draft leagues. But that's really the only thing. Like, it's the amount of bulk you have to gain here is so drastic. And obviously, you don't draft as your only dark resist because it's knockoff week, but that's a pretty. But you get a ground resist, you get something that is pretty much never two hit KO'd, and like something that'll live just about any poison coverage easily. It's overall just a fantastic mon, very balanced in terms of stats, and a lot of great utility moves. It can uh, also gets reliable self recovery as well as the ability to wish pass. So that's why I think Togetic is definitely worth consideration. It's something you don't need to draft until like late rounds, but like because like even though I say you should draft high tier fairies, people will draft Sylveon by like round 3 or Florges by like round 4. They'll have Clef early on. They'll have Tapu Fini, and like all these traditional bulky fairies. But you shouldn't fall for that, guys. I tell you guys to stay woke, and this is your opportunity to embrace it. Alright, so you say, okay, why is Great Ball on this list? Well, I'm falling into the cleric role of the bulky role more than I'm emphasizing like wish passing here as far as being the traditional fairy. So, Great Ball gets a great HP stat where you can max out and get a nice leftovers number, which is a very nice appreciable thing. Intimidate's a great ability. I mean, quick feet's nice too, but I pretty much never. I don't really find a good opportunity to use it because you can pretty much run max HP, max defense Grand Bull every time you bring it, and you're so set. And you can bring Heal Bell and 3 attacks, or Heal Bell Super Fang 3 attacks. You don't. It's something you don't really need to be versatile, but it's great value. It's a great fighting resist, great dark resist, because a lot of those types are physical. There are guys who like running it with Assault Vest, and it doesn't have a great speed F, but like you invest a little bit, bump it up to something where like 180, so you're getting like that's plus 90, so you're getting like a nice 270-ish base special defense stat, and love some hits. It's really good. You just run like a Play Rough, and then you run like Earthquake, and that could be like your grand. This here could be your Grand Bull set, like for like 6 weeks of your life in your league. It's really reliable, and a lot of people undervalue like Masters of One. Jacks of all trades are sometimes looked down upon, but their versatility is generally valued. Masters of One, though, Grand Bull, it's nice and bulky. Heck, it could do other things besides just this. But I think it's really great, especially if you're looking for more physical defense from a fairy. It's definitely a superior option to pretty much any higher tier fairy. But anyway, moving on, we got Aromatisse. And let me give you guys a quick comparison to Florges, who is generally, in every draft I see, a whole tier higher than Aromatisse. And it is a usage tier because it directly outclasses it, because you would run them in the same role. But you have a better HP stat on Aromatisse with worse SPDF, good deal worse SPDF, similar defense, better defensive stat on Aromatisse. So defensively, you're looking at 2 similar mods. You are, as far as their special attack goes, Florges is a little better off, and Florges has a better speed stat. but I don't see people running speed forges, even though they maybe should. They have very similar move pools with access to Psychic and Psyshock. Forges access to Psychic. Not even Psyshock, guys. Forges gets nice grass coverage. Aromatisse gets nice grass coverage here. Energy Ball. They share a lot of similar qualities. You say, yeah, Forges is slightly better. But if you get like only like a little worse for a good deal cheaper, I don't see why you wouldn't. This is the main argument I have for low tier fairies. And if you look at Clefable, even, right, it's what really saves Clefable is its ability. But if you're running Heal Bell, you're saving yourself from status anyway, and you can have other status absorbers. Aromatisse, again, better HP stat. Similar defensive stats, only 1 point off on Aromatisse. Spadef, 1 point below Clefable, and a better special attack stat. So you're drafting them on, like, this is, Clefable's pretty much still tier 1. Tier 1 Aromatisse is like tier 4. So you're drafting something 3 tiers higher, many rounds, like probably at least 6 rounds earlier, from what I see, to get like a couple stat points on a useless speed stat you're not going to use. It's insane, guys. Like, Aromatisse is, it can wish to folks. It can heal bell or aromatherapy. It can moonblast fools. Heck, it can even calm mind. It can do all these things Fable does. Can't set rocks, so I guess that's it. It can't set rocks or thunder wave. So that's like the big niche. But again, like anything you'd want Clefable could do, you get way cheaper with Aromatisse. And then you could get plenty of good rockers, good thunder wave users. And that's really all Fable does over Aromatisse. And if your Florges, like Florges does the same thing as Aromatisse, just with better stats. So I say, so Aromatisse is the epitome of like this concept that I'm trying to say, that you need to go, that getting cheap fairies can really let you get a lot of better value in the earlier parts of your draft by not worrying about like, oh man, I gotta get this fairy that I want. Like Sylveon Forges, Aromatisse, and Clefable are really not that different in quality. They do pretty much the same thing. You get like a little bit worse down. Like Forges is like just a smidge worse than Sylveon. It's not as powerful because of Pixelate, and Sylveon has a good offensive role. That's probably the biggest argument for it. It has a worse stat, but getting Pixelate on its moves is nice. Has a better HP stat, but like a worse def stat, so it's like similar, worse defense stat. If you look at it compared to Aromatisse, it definitely has a better offensive stat, but a worse HP stat, but a better def stat. And all just like, it's all working with similar base stat totals on all these mods. And you're just deciding like, you know, I need to, if you're drafting like something like Sylveon, something like Forges, you're making a conscious choice that you're like, you know what, doing this role slightly better is really, really important. And if it is, go for the high tier fairy. But I think more often than not, in most drafts, you greatly benefit from saying, you know what, Aromatisse can come in on the things Forges comes on well enough, and I could get, you know, other roles my team needs a lot for, um, yeah, I get other roles my team needs a lot more in the higher rounds than getting a fairy that can wish pass or that can heal bell like these guys. And I can admit Togetic and Granbull have their liabilities compared to traditional fairies, but I think all three of these, like the amount of like the things you're sacrificing in comparison to a Sylveon Forges is so slight, it's so minor. like to be able to get these mods. Pretty much all these are averaged out to be a tier 4 compared to like these being tier 1s or tier 2s. Like you're just getting a much better bang for your buck. So moving on, other this isn't a wish passer. I don't think it doesn't get heal bell, but it's a bulky fairy. It would more based on stat total. It comes in on the things that these things are meant to. So I'm counting it alongside these mods. It also gets screens, which these fairies commonly use as well. Relies on Moonblast for damage. And this is this isn't quite as cheap as these guys here, but it certainly sits at like tier 3 at least. And I think Premium is very good value to get for like if you're not fully in on going for one of these guys, or you say I don't really need a traditional fairy. Premium is a great option. It packs good offensive punch, has great SPDF, with a great HP total. Not as good as some of the other fairies, as Aromatisse or Granbull, or some of these high tier fairies. But 80 HP is pretty good. And when you max it out, it's pretty nice. I think that gives you a nice round leftovers number. If not, I think you have to run something weird like maybe 4, something like that. I'm not sure. But I haven't used Premium too much, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, honestly. But that's a neat. It's in the conversation for neat lower tier option. I think I should bring it up. And finally, we go to Mega Aldino, the queen of low tier fairies, because it is a Mega. And this is something that I'm a little conflicted on, but I think is worth your time with considering that's normally a tier 3 or 4 Mega, depending on how you're. I think probably tier 3 is normally how most things run it. And on one hand, it's kind of like drafting like Blissey as your Mega, which isn't that great when you think about it that way. It doesn't have offensive presence, but it does have the ability to Calm Mind. But as far as drafting as a fairy, as far as drafting that Wish Passing, Heal Belling role, with some slight offensive presence and the ability to set up, Aldino is definitely an option worth looking at if you're not too committed on a Mega. This is again something I have not drafted, but it is in the territory of it pretty much never gets 2-hit KO'd. It is so EV malleable. Could run just like max HP, mix the defenses to whatever hits you need to live. Like you don't need much to give yourself like over the 300 range, and then you could be like, bam. You have a nice big spread there. You could Calm Mind, and you could Wish and Heal Bell, or you could make it a tank, or you could run coverage because it gets a lot of good coverage. So, Mega Aldino, I think overall, it's not great as a Mega pick, but if you need a fairy in a pinch and you don't have a Mega declared, it's definitely worth it to get a late round pick. I think like these guys are something you could like plan to get like round 8 or 9. Pre-Marina is something you can plan to get maybe round 6 or something. But Aldino is something like if you can't manage to get like other low tier fairies, or if you wanted a high tier fairy but those went too quickly, you could be like, oh man, I could kind of throw this in to kind of patch up holes in my team. So yeah. So basically, the draft theory of today is grab low tier fairies. Don't worry about getting fairy types highly because the difference because the stratification isn't that big, and the ranking system works out so that it's better value to get a fairy cheap than it is to get a fairy high. So I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts, enjoyed the video, and without further ado, I encourage you guys to take my advice and stay woke.